Hello, humans. Hello, humans. Let me adjust this just a bit. There we go. Okay. Today is Saturday, November 29, 6:45 a.m. Lots of people not awake yet. Well, in many ways. Okay, so this is a little talk about complexity, your new world, and what's going on with you and your planet. It's all happening now, and we're in the midst of a complexity increase. This complexity increase is a collision. It's a collision of complexity forces. This has happened with 3i Atlas. It's been a major escalation at a number of levels in the idea of humanity not being alone. Okay, the powers that be can deny the UFOs, the UAPs, the drones, the...
Welcome to Gold Silver News, your go-to destination for all things economics and finance. Whether you're an experienced investor, an inquisitive student, or just someone who wants to stay ahead in today's ever-changing economic landscape, you've come to the right place. Now we'll show you the best scenes of the latest interview. But first, smash the subscribe button, hit the like button, and send us super thanks if you find our daily recaps valuable. Enjoy the episode.
About the powers that be, they work so hard to obscure these things, not realizing that they're probably one of the 1% that actually look and care about it. The powers that be have a really weird view of our world and humans, as we know, but I'm saying it's flawed too. They really don't understand the nature of humanity, and they haven't learned to read their own secret society texts that tell them how all this shit works. Anyway, so 3i Atlas is manufactured, created, built, and it was sent here by someone. We have no idea of the someone or any of that kind of stuff. All we know is that it was created, that it's not a rock, it's not a comet, and it's doing weird shit. And every time you hear the word anomaly relative to 3i Atlas, you're going to want to think artificial design or intelligent dynamic movement, something like that. Because it's not an anomaly, right? It's something we don't understand, and it's being done by non-human intelligence. Some things we do understand, though. It deliberately hid itself on the other side of the sun from us. It was aware of the limitations of our telescopes relative to seeing through the solar haze. It did something back there because Avi Loeb and others, including some Russians, are now saying that it lost mass. Okay, it gravitationally, when it came out, it was not the same object that we saw go behind the sun. This is to say it weighs less now. So it dropped. Whatever it dropped off could have stayed there. It was at a point where whatever it dropped off would have been impacted by solar gravity. So it could have put a satellite around our sun, right? That we won't ever be able to see because of the placement of it. And we'll never know it's there. Another thing it could have done would have been to have sent an object or objects out into a particular point of space off of where it was at perihelion on the 29th of October. It could have sent out something, probes, could have put stuff in space and sort of given it a little scoot and headed it over to a particular point, and Earth will be at that point approximately next March or April. Coincidentally, 3i Atlas, as it came around the sun, adjusted its trajectory. Okay, so it's not natural, it's moving itself, it's aiming itself. It's done this repeatedly. It's altered its acceleration. This time it adjusted itself with just absolutely exquisite precision. The precision is designed to place 3i Atlas on March 16th 2026, at a spot between Jupiter and the Sun, such that the Sun's gravity doesn't affect it and Jupiter's gravity doesn't affect it. And I suspect it will release a bunch of stuff then to go drift down onto Jupiter, because that's the effect of all of this. If you like, kick stuff out of the right-hand side of the spaceship, when it's there, it'll drift down to Jupiter. So maybe it's going to colonize or invade, or however you want to think about it. Could also set up satellites around Jupiter in that same spot very easily. Actually, this would be a hell of a way to do satellites, and they could have done all of Elon Musk's Starlinks in a single day with their 3i Atlas. Anyway, so we don't know what 3i Atlas is up to, right? We can make conjectures, speculate, but we don't know what's going on. But we do know that our complexity is increased because 3i Atlas is in here, and it's space alien. So this means that now we have their interactions with our eternal now and with the human species out in the open. So this changes the whole UFO dynamic. These UFOs whizzing around down here and these damn drones and things. It's now shifted to it's downshifted all of that stuff. It's down-leveled all of that because of the activity that 3i Atlas is doing. Now, there's also other things going on. There's other objects out there that are messing around. So it's a very active time in our sun's solar system. And I suspect it's going to get much more so. So at this point, our complexity level has collided with the complexity level of the space aliens, and so we've multiplied, right? All of our decisions now have to, down here, and it'll come to you perhaps, but certainly at government, all decisions now have to be run through the very murky lens. They have to look at it through the very murky lens of what does this mean relative to what we have to do to 3i Atlas. And so we'll be making decisions down here on the allocation of Earth's resources that may not seem rational, sane, or whatever from the viewpoint of a lot of people that don't know that government is now making its decisions after looking through this lens, okay? So it's going to get weird as they go on and they start trying to understand what they're doing relative to their new situation, the sudden multiplication of complexity. This is actually complexity squared, complexity times itself. Because we have all of the complexities of our civilization, our humanness and everything, which, as you have to admit, is, absolutely incredibly complex. And now we've added space aliens into it at a different level, at an officialdom level, where officialdom has to deal with it. Anyway, so, on March 16, next year, 2026, 3i Atlas is likely to do something else over near Jupiter. And so I'm expecting it to lose mass again, to shed stuff for whatever purpose. We'll see how that goes, okay? Now, this is going to, the complexity raise is throughout our whole social order. And it's going to impact everything. So just the fact that government's now dealing with 3i Atlas, and Trump's probably getting daily 3i Atlas briefings, just that mere fact, even if it doesn't do anything extraordinary for months and months and months, just goes trucking out to Jupiter. Even though it's now raised the complexity where everything has been somewhat accelerated, and decisions are being made at a different level. And you're going to start seeing a real focus from high-end government on personal and community, collective, and planetary defense, promoting martial arts, exercise clubs, all kinds of stuff. A lot of it will come in under Robert Kennedy and the Make America Healthy Again movement, but you're going to see it has a distinct personal defense focus, okay? Because I've been years ahead of these guys, but this is going to be the move, this is going to be the theme that will emerge by fall of next year, is a rededication to a fit America at a level that is going to boggle your mind. It's going to twist your noodle, okay? Because you're just not prepared for it, and you're not prepared to, it just is coming out of the blue as far as you're concerned. It's totally unexpected, but it's going to be, and it'll actually come out fairly dramatic. You'll see a lot of people really pushing on it at all different levels. It's going to be quite odd for many of the spectator humans in our social order who haven't understood that now, or haven't seen this coming and haven't understood until now. You're getting involved. People are getting on your case about shit. So part of the rise in complexity is going to be this increasing social pressure here in the United States. There will be social pressure the opposite way from the blue hairs, right? So there will be people putting social pressure on you to conform to a physical body type, healthy, and, not incredibly covered in ink and all of this kind of thing. So it's going to go that other way. It is to some extent a reaction to that, to a rejection of that, that whole ethos of altering humans, and it's certainly a focus on trying to recover your base humanity. You'll see a lot of words like primal, authentic, original, all different kinds of words about the nature of humanity that will be resurfacing. As these words resurface, you can take them as indicators of this movement going through the social order. This is going to really piss a lot of people off. We're going to have things like corporate fitness clubs. First thing in the morning, everybody will do exercises before they do work, like they do in Japan. There will be corporations supporting all kinds of physical activity and mental activity training after hours that employees can get into. It's going to be a change in the culture. This is part of the personal and planetary defense thing. There's going to be lawsuits about this, about the fitness part, and the people will be shocked when basically the courts say, no, suck it up. They're paying you. They want you to be fit, not hungover, and, not 500 pounds and dying. So you got to suck it up and do it. And, or don't work there. So this kind of thing is going to change the social order. And that'll be rapid enough that there will be articles about it. People will become sensitized to it because it will just sort of, in their opinion, just sort of come out of nowhere. Anyway, so enough about that. But anyway, so that part of the transformation is underway, and it'll be visible to you fairly quick. This transformation is the collision of all of the complexities, and the reaction to it on the part of individual humans and officialdom. So the complexity is going to be rising because it would have been rising anyway without 3i Atlas. Let's just be clear about that. Okay, so now we've got an increase of the complexity of aliens in general because of 3i Atlas. And this is going to bring out a reflective sensitivity to both. As we get more and more reports of UAP activity, more reports of drones, more reports of revealing, it's not disclosure, but revealing of what the government knows, we'll get more sensitivity to 3i Atlas and what it's doing, and that will reflect back, and then we'll get more sensitivity about the UAP, UFO issue. And so it'll be really also rising along with this background of personal and planetary defense, which links into your personal fitness level. So anyway, so all of this stuff is going to be coming out here in 2026, and it'll set a theme for decades. The fitness thing here might go 30 or 40 years without any major alteration of the social pressure. Okay, so as far as drones, we've got those here over the house here and over this area. They're large. They've been seen here. I personally have been out looking at them and stuff repeatedly over the past 15 days or more. There were some here before that. Then there was a gap with none, and now they've been around for about the last half month. So I've had a chance to observe them. They're not a helicopter. They're not a carry it in your backpack kind of drone. They have very interesting performance characteristics. They don't appear to have, or the noise, they do make some noise sometimes. It's intermittent, and it doesn't appear to be conditioned, so it's not like because of wind or anything. They're really huge, okay? So I've had them right over the house, and I could look straight up, and even at a slight angle, so I can get a couple of different views of them. At reasonably low altitude. So I know the height of the trees here because I've had to deal with them, and so I know that these drones are about 350 feet up, the two that were closest. And there was good observation distance, even though it was night and moonless on all of them but one. There's enough reflected light that even at that height, I was able to get some level of or some sense of what I was looking at. And what I'm seeing is quite large. So it's easily, I could easily put an SUV inside it, right? I could easily put a large pickup truck inside these things. They have odd lights, whites, strobes, sort of a creamish white, steady light. They have red lights that vary in intensity and blink rate, and they have green lights that are occasionally showing, but it's not like navigation lights, okay? So these are not port and starboard indicators. Both the green and the red are on the bottom of the device, and there's red lights all the way around in some other places. So it's not consistent with our navigation light understanding now. Maybe there's some secret navigation light thing, indicators that the government's got and they're not telling us about, who knows. In any event, the drones are mostly silent. Occasionally I've heard noise from them. I'm uncertain as to what was the cause of why I was hearing that noise. You know, it's sitting up over me silent, and then it makes a little noise, and then nothing happens, and then at some point later on, it moves off or changes direction, right? And then once there were helicopters coming in, and just before the helicopter noise dominated, I thought I heard a sort of a clunking noise out of the drone. It was very close at that point. Could not have been more than 350 and probably was closer to 300 feet up. It was mostly silent until then. Anyway, so whatever. They seem to sometimes make a little noise. It's not a whirring noise. There's no sign of any propellers. There's no sign of any propulsion system. There's no exhaust. And they can just sit there and just hover. And they're big, like I say, right? So very unusual. The winds at the time they're hovering in my location here were not all that fierce, but nonetheless, they just sat there for 15 or 20 minutes at a time on the other side of the this area here. So I was watching them some distance off over other people's houses. And that's really how I mostly see them. The only reason I was aware that they were over the house was because a neighbor had an angular view of my property, told another neighbor who told me. So I was able to go out and look up and catch sight of them. And, you know, I can't tell if they're screwing with stuff. I've had all kinds of Wi-Fi problems, but other than that, and then I'm in such a rural area that, you know, this is sort of to be expected. In any event, so the drones are their own subject, right? And we'll see how that unfolds. I have a bet going with Heidi that Trump is going to come on out and talk about what the U.S. government knows about UFOs. I don't think he's going to reveal it all. I think he's going to be quite tight-lipped about it, but I think he will, you know, be the UFO president and make an official announcement. I think he'll do it for a bunch of reasons. I don't think he can let this particular opportunity in history pass him by, and there's going to be real, you know, at a political ego kind of a level, right? I think he would like to have that attached to his legacy. And I think he'd like to do it well. And that's the real issue, is that it's the level of complexity involved in this is mind-numbing, okay? Because they're examining it as a complication, though, not a complexity. And there's a difference in thinking involved when you approach things. In any event, so I think he will, and we'll see if Heidi or I win the bet about Trump over this next year. I think it'll be next year, maybe 2027 in the first half, but I don't think it's going to go much beyond that because of the acceleration of events and all the other crapola that's coming down. And all this stuff the secret societies know, and the increase in the complexity, and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, so, all right, so the complexity, the aliens and the increase in the complexity is going to hit us in a couple of ways, and I'm of the opinion it's going to impact our eternal now, and how humans interact with the pleroma, the source of all. And I think it's going to be, it probably already is impacting us that way. But here's the thing. We're at this point where there's a number of sources for it, and I've contributed to that by writing an annotated version of the sayings of Jesus about it. But what's happening is the emergence of the art and science of manifestation into the general social order. And this is part of this overall cultural change that will also participate and support and interact with and pump up, pun intended, the physical culture emergence, okay? You know, so don't get me wrong. It's going to be tough to be out of shape, blue-haired, and hold wrong opinions, because the social order will be changing, and there will be a very distinct social pressure to get your act together and get. All right. So anyway, so in this coming year, the art and science of manifestation is going to really break out. And we're going to see, again, like a focus on it as people devote a lot of their attention to it, because it will be highly attractive to them. A way to change their life, you know, including, you know, getting to the point where they do exercise and that kind of stuff. They can change themselves with this. And so there will be support groups and all of these kind of things forming. Yeah, and people will make money at it. I expect, like in fact, I'm shocked that idiots like Wilcock and Corey Good haven't tumbled to this and aren't out there pimping, you know, David Wilcock's Science of Manifestation course for $330, where basically he's manifesting wealth into his pocket and, you know, selling you stuff you could easily find for free. And you can find all this. Go and look at the, you know, Neville Goddard videos on YouTube, and just piggyback off of that. There's a lot of people doing what Neville Goddard had done, and now there's a lot of new proponents of this. And you'll see people that are successful. Now, since I've written so Jesus spoke about this in the 114 sayings collected by Judas Thomas, right? And I wrote up an annotation. It's called The Eyes to See. You can get a free copy on my Substack. You can buy a copy on Kindle, on Amazon on Kindle, and you can get a paperback on Kindle. Eyes to See, Clif High. It's also called The Eyes to See, Tom's Book Examined. It's all about the Gospel of Thomas, these 114 sayings, and how they are 100% directly focused on teaching people to manifest, as Jesus did. So anyway, you can get these, you can go off and you can start doing the work yourself and change yourself and change your reality. And this will start becoming quite the thing. As I say, because it's attractive, because it works. So since I've put the Substack book out, I've gotten a fair number of emails about it, and people are reporting success. So one guy sends me an email and said, he was in a really shitty place relative to money. He's got a job. He is like 22, but his job is shit. He can't find much work where he's at. Not going to betray any of his circumstances, but basically what happened was he came across my book. A friend of his sent him my ebook, a link to my ebook off of Substack. He started reading it, and the friend had told him that I also recommended Neville Goddard, and he went and listened to some Neville Goddard YouTube videos. And this guy is all like I say, he's like 22, and he wrote me this letter 5 or 6 days after this, after encountering all these things. He had a sales job. He's not apparently very good at his sales job, or he's selling shitty products or something. I won't go into it, but he didn't have much success with it. And he said he did this for solidly for 5 days, and he was absolutely shocked to get up one morning and find an email from somebody he had tried to sell to 3 months earlier, who just out of the blue, because he didn't work, he couldn't sell the guy on whatever the product is, and out of the blue, he gets up and this guy is contacting him and saying, hey, I want to do this now. Let's get this done. And so the guy is writing me. He's all flabbergasted. This was apparently really, for him, a very large sale, and so he's absolutely thrilled. And then he said within the next 2 days, he'd gotten 2 other sales. Again, just one, he didn't go into any of the details, but one can assume that it's this burgeoning attitude. It flows out of you. It starts reflecting in all of your activities. It affects all of your outlook to life. You project positiveness, and the universe reflects that back. Now, I've gotten a number of these, right? A number of these emails, people having these effects. It's worth pursuing. It's going to really take off. It's growing now. It'll grow more rapidly than interest in physical culture, but the physical culture stuff will be reinforced by what government's going to do, and the complexity of everything around us is changing. This is going to really impact the social order. We're never going to go back to anything approaching simplicity, but you will find that over this next couple of years, there's going to be a, quote, return to authenticity, or return to the past, or return to our primal nature, something like this, in the way of a general collective movement. And it's not we're not ever going back to a more simpler time, but what they will do is attempt to bring forward aspects of the nature of humans into the general social order operating on a daily basis. This is going to cause its own levels of disturbances, as there's tussles and scraps and fights about what is authentic, what is our primal nature, etc. And that'll sort of get settled out over these next few years. You'll find that a lot of people...
Dear listeners, I was able to upload a portion of this interview, which lasted approximately 1 hour and 15 minutes due to YouTube rules. You can watch it in its entirety from the link in the description. Now, some brief information about Clif High will be given. Who is Clif High? Clif High, often spelled Clif High, is known for his so-called WebBot project and predictive linguistics, which involve collecting and analyzing internet-based data to offer predictions or insights on future events. He discusses a wide range of subjects, including financial markets, particularly cryptocurrencies, geopolitical developments, health, and alternative thought. Although not widely recognized by mainstream audiences, he has developed a following among certain alternative research circles and cryptocurrency enthusiasts. Because of his unconventional methods, he is both criticized and supported by different groups. The following text provides a comprehensive look at Clif High's background, his work on the WebBot project, the topics he covers, and the criticisms leveled against him. 2. Personal background. 2.1. Early life and education. Detailed personal information about Clif High is not widely available. It is generally believed that he has a background in software, data analysis, large-scale data, big data, and natural language processing (NLP). According to his own accounts, he began exploring automated internet data collection and predictive projects in the late 1990s. Although there is no verified, comprehensive information about his academic credentials, he evidently has a strong inclination toward technology and computer science. Even during the early days of the internet, he reportedly showed an interest in studying how people's language usage might reflect the collective mind or consciousness. 2.2. Career and early projects. In the early 2000s, Clif High began publishing regular reports on a platform called Half Past Human. These reports, he claimed, derived from software that scoured internet text in an automated fashion. From economic crises to global politics and natural disasters, he shared predictions across a wide range of topics. Over time, these reports became available for purchase, and High built a dedicated audience willing to pay for access to his insights. In the 2010s, he became more widely known within the cryptocurrency ecosystem for his commentary on Bitcoin and various altcoins. 3. The WebBot Project, Predictive Linguistics. 3.1. Fundamental concept. Clif High's WebBot project, sometimes referred to as predictive linguistics, is based on the idea that the language people use online reflects their subconscious fears, expectations, and hopes. High believes that significant future events may first surface in the collective unconscious, and then, even if people are not fully aware of it, manifest in language patterns on the internet. High claims to analyze these linguistic signals with specific algorithms in order to discover clues or indicators about what might happen in the future. 3.2. Technical approach. The WebBot software, or series of software agents, is said to crawl publicly available text online using spiders or bots to gather data. This data is then analyzed, focusing on how frequently certain keywords appear, the emotional tone, positive, negative, fear, excitement, etc. of these words. When specific terms or phrases spike in usage, the context in which language might hint at upcoming events. Clif High then interprets these findings and publishes them as reports, which often include warnings or predictions on a variety of issues, including the economy, cryptocurrencies, and natural disasters. 3.3. Rise to attention. The WebBot project gained popularity in the early 2000s after claims that it had predicted certain major global events. Although there was no official confirmation of such predictions by scientific or governmental bodies, these stories sparked considerable interest among individuals who follow alternative media or are curious about unorthodox methods of anticipating future developments. Over time, the project's mention of financial markets, geopolitical conflicts, and possible large-scale disasters attracted an audience interested in conspiracies or alternative perspectives on what the future might hold. 4. Philosophical and esoteric influences. Clif High does not solely portray himself as a programmer or data analyst. His work often references esoteric themes, such as the collective unconscious and spiritual transformation, reminiscent of concepts like Carl Jung's collective unconscious or theories of a collective awareness. In his reports or interviews, High mentions ideas such as humanity undergoing significant spiritual changes, major evolutionary leaps in consciousness, and phenomena that science has yet to fully explain, signals that, in his view, might be detected in internet language. Consequently, Clif High is seen as both a data-driven analyst and an alternative/spiritual researcher. 5. Criticisms and controversies. Clif High's work generates both fascination and strong critiques. Lack of scientific rigor. Many academic data analysts and scientists argue that predicting future events by studying language usage alone is not aligned with standard scientific methodologies. Because Hai does not share the source code or full methodology of his algorithm, verification by external experts is difficult. Unfulfilled predictions. Many of Hai's predictions have not materialized within the anticipated time frame. He sometimes explains this through concepts like time shifts, which critics see as an attempt to rationalize incorrect forecasts. Paid reports and alleged market manipulation. Hai sells some of his reports, raising concerns, particularly in cryptocurrency markets, about possible price manipulation. Critics caution that smaller investors may give these reports undue weight. Confirmation bias. People tend to highlight predictions that appear to come true while ignoring those that do not. Hai's followers may fall prey to this psychological dynamic, remembering only the accurate-seeming forecasts. In response, Hai emphasizes that he is not claiming to be a prophet. Instead, he aims to present possible trends detected in data, acknowledging that events and collective consciousness are always in flux. 6. Influence on cryptocurrencies and finance. Clif Hai is well known for his commentary on cryptocurrencies, which helped him gain wider recognition in the 2010s. 6.1. Bitcoin forecasts. Hai's assertions about Bitcoin's price increase, made during the mid-2010s, drew attention from the crypto community. When Bitcoin experienced its significant bull run in 2017, some investors credited Hai with an early bullish view. This boosted his profile considerably. However, given the volatile nature of cryptocurrency markets, not all of his predictions have been accurate. While some of his calls seemed prescient, others did not pan out, demonstrating the inherent uncertainty of market movements. 6.2. Altcoin projects. Clif Hai has also offered opinions on various altcoin projects, sometimes suggesting that particular innovations might see major growth in the future. Some followers have claimed that they profited from these insights, whereas others state that certain projects never achieved the expected milestones. 6.3. Broader economic and crisis scenarios. Hai frequently states that the global financial system is on the brink of major disruption, with potential large-scale collapses ahead. He predicts that in such times, cryptocurrency and precious metals, e.g., gold and silver, will stand out. Although no collapse of the magnitude he anticipates has fully come to pass, his views place him among the so-called doomed forecasters who warn about systemic risks in traditional finance. 7. Health and alternative perspectives. Beyond finance, Clif Hai shares his thoughts on topics related to health, the human body, and holistic approaches. While he does not appear to provide direct medical advice, he does advocate ideas about natural diets, supporting the immune system, and herbal supplements. Some mainstream medical professionals have criticized these views if presented without recognized scientific backing. Clif Hai generally portrays himself not as a medical authority, but as an investigator who explores various information sources beyond established consensus. 8. Geopolitical and societal projections. Clif Hai also discusses geopolitical events, potential armed conflicts, and large-scale social movements in his reports. Common examples include possible conflicts or tensions in the Middle East or the Asia-Pacific region, significant protest waves or societal upheavals, major shifts in global power dynamics. Such forecasts are often broad and may align partially with ongoing tensions worldwide, but specifics and timelines frequently differ from what was predicted. Skeptics argue that the world is always facing some kind of conflict, so it is unclear how much predictive insight is truly provided. 9. Time shifts and other explanations. To address unmet predictions, Clif Hai sometimes cites concepts like time shifts or the collective consciousness altering outcomes. This idea implies that once the subconscious fear of a certain disastrous event surfaces, communities or individuals may subconsciously act in ways to avert it. Critics view these explanations as a convenient way to justify predictions that do not materialize, whereas proponents interpret them as pointing to a metaphysical aspect of human consciousness. They believe that collective energies can shape or change potential outcomes. 10. Clif High, among other alternative researchers. Clif High is frequently mentioned alongside alternative researchers such as David Wilcock, Linda Moulton Howe, Graham Hancock, and Greg Braden, known for exploring alternative history, spirituality, or UFO-related topics. High sets himself apart by focusing on linguistic data analysis, whereas others rely more on mystical or ancient sources. Despite this difference, Clif High shares a similar audience base, one that is often distrustful of mainstream narratives and seeks non-mainstream or esoteric viewpoints on global events and humanity's path forward. 11. His following and internet presence. 11.1. Social media and YouTube. Clif High maintains a presence on YouTube and other social media platforms, where he shares updates on his latest findings. He also appears on podcasts and online programs to discuss new data or reports. A community of followers on Reddit, Discord, and Telegram closely monitors his updates, frequently debating his latest predictions and whether those predictions might influence financial decisions or reflect broader social developments. 11.2. Cultural impact. Though generally overlooked by mainstream media, Clif High benefits from the internet's capacity to directly connect niche audiences with content creators. Those interested in conspiracy theories, spiritual themes, or alternative economic views can discover voices like Clif High's that are not widely represented in conventional outlets. He became particularly popular among certain crypto enthusiasts who believe that some of his Bitcoin forecasts came true. However, he also faces criticism for the missed forecasts that inevitably accompany such speculative predictions. 12. Key themes in Clif High's work. Collective mind and unconscious. The internet's language is thought to reveal subconscious clues about looming events. Natural disasters. Regular warnings about large earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and extreme weather events. Economic and monetary shifts. Emphasis on disruptions in global finance, with cryptocurrencies and precious metals emerging as strong alternatives. Esoteric and spiritual evolution. Beliefs about humanity's collective awakening, higher consciousness, or ancient wisdom that might foreshadow big changes. Technology and artificial intelligence. The idea that AI advancements will greatly expand the quantity of online data and, in turn, amplify signals of the digital collective consciousness. 13. Examples of predictions and assessments. 13.1. Bitcoin's price surge. Clif High's positive outlook on Bitcoin in the mid-2010s seemed vindicated by the cryptocurrency's steep rise in 2017. This success story boosted his credibility among some crypto traders, although subsequent market fluctuations revealed that not all of his projections were equally accurate. 13.2. Major earthquakes. His webbot reports frequently reference significant earthquake events and other cataclysms. Occasionally, he specified certain dates or regions, but these disasters either did not occur within the stated time frame or were much less severe than implied. Critics point out that the Earth experiences many earthquakes regularly, so any general warning might partially coincide with real seismic events somewhere. 13.3. Geopolitical tensions. Clif High has speculated about wars or crises in various regions, along with large-scale protest movements. These predictions sometimes intersect with actual tensions, but the detailed outcomes often differ from his predictions. Skeptics note that global politics perpetually feature conflict, which can make broad, unrest forecasts seem intermittently valid without providing precise accuracy. 14. Clif High's own defense. When confronted with criticism, Clif High explains his work as follows. Not a scientist in the traditional sense. He does not claim to use mainstream scientific methodology, describing himself instead as a researcher who provides an alternative perspective on data. Privacy of the algorithm. The details of his webbot software are not disclosed, which he justifies with intellectual property concerns and the risk of misuse. Incorrect forecasts. He admits that timing and specific forms of events can be hard to predict, attributing discrepancies to changes in collective consciousness or emergent solutions that avert disasters. Interactive future. High suggests that the future is not entirely fixed. Instead, it forms from countless individual and collective decisions, so the language-based data reveals possible scenarios rather than absolute certainties. 15. Recent work and focus. In recent years, Clif has concentrated on global politics, digital transformations, financial upheavals, and people's shifting mindsets. He believes that the rapid spread of artificial intelligence will multiply the amount of data generated on the internet, thereby offering even clearer signals of the digital collective mind. Hai also continues to emphasize the potential for cryptocurrencies and blockchain solutions to upend traditional financial systems and permeate daily life. While some crypto followers are receptive to his views, others maintain skepticism about the verifiability of his methods and the reliability of his forecasts. Regarding health, nutrition, and lifestyle topics, Clif often describes his opinions as personal investigations, acknowledging that he is not a credentialed expert, merely someone sharing alternative viewpoints. 16. Overall assessment and conclusions. In many ways, Clif can be seen as a marginal prophet of the digital age, attempting to peer into the future using linguistic signals found on the internet. His Webbot project and predictive linguistics spark both intrigue and doubt. Popularity. Some of his crypto-related calls, apparently validated by market surges, led to a dedicated following in alternative media. Criticism. Detractors point out his lack of rigorous scientific validation, the vagueness of time-shift explanations for mispredictions, and concerns about influencing or misleading investors. Supporters' perspective. Admirers view Clif as an innovative investigator of online data who ventures into realms not easily studied by mainstream academia. They argue that because he is probing an unexplored or mystic domain, classic metrics of proof may not apply. Scientific standing. The academic community has not adopted or peer-reviewed his work. Because he keeps his methods private, replication studies are impossible. Vision of the future. Hai foresees humanity's collective consciousness becoming more digitized, major economic and political realignments, and possibly a spiritual or consciousness-driven shift in our global civilization. While following Clif work can be compelling for those looking for alternative perspectives, verifying his claims is inherently difficult. This text does not provide medical, legal, or financial advice, nor does it endorse Clif views as factual. Readers should consult multiple sources and, where appropriate, seek professional opinions when weighing his predictions or advice. Summary points. Clif known for the Webbot project and predictive linguistics. Webbot project, a reported method of analyzing linguistic data on the internet to predict potential future trends. Main topics: finance, especially crypto, geopolitical scenarios, potential natural catastrophes, collective consciousness, and esoteric themes. Criticisms: lack of scientific transparency, flexible justifications, time shifts, and potential market influence. Defense: Hai asserts he is not declaring certainties, but rather exploring emerging signals that may suggest future possibilities. Conclusion: Clif offers an unconventional viewpoint that intersects data analysis with esotericism. He has a devoted following and vocal critics, and his work is best approached with caution and critical thinking.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe for our channel.